5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Gringo Show. So glad to be back with you. We have a great show for you tonight. One of the most important infectious disease doctors in the country will be with us. No, not the one who goes to nude beaches during peak times of COVID. Another one, and he's going to update us on vaccines, the status of the disease here in Mexico, among other things. This is an interview you do not want to miss, so stay with us. But let's go to our top story tonight. Woman. The past Monday marked International Women's Day, where people all over the world put up a purple Instagram photo and come up with really inspiring quotes and poetry. I was like, wow, Mr. Abs, with 150,000 followers, because you flex your muscles and smile at the camera, you're also so insightful, man. Women's voices were heard around the world, but especially here in Mexico City, where women protested outside of the National Palace. The scene became violent through frustration due to a long history of oppression and femicide. They were also angry due to a recent story involving former Mexican senator and Acapulco mayor Felix Salgado Macedonio, who was recommended by the governing party of Morena to be the candidate for governor of the state of Guerrero. The only problem is that he had been accused of rape twice and admitted to many things in his infidelities. But President Andrés Manuel López Obrador still supported his nomination. The president ran in 2018 on a platform of inclusivity, and when he won, he installed a record amount of women in leadership positions, such as Secretary of Government Olga Sánchez Cordero, and I guarantee she still loves a leg of lamb. Cordero, lamb. Head of the Mexico City government, Claudia Sheinbaum, who shares the last name of my friend from New York, Jacob Sheinbaum. Yeah, you know Jacob, the guy who lived on Mulberry Street. Yeah, he's a good guy. No, you don't know him? Okay. Also, Secretary of the Economy, Graciela Marquez, and Rocio Nale, who serves as Secretary of Energy. The Salgado nomination has opened a rare division in the party and has sparked a fierce debate, especially among the women in party, about how male politicians feel untouchable and they think the law is beneath them. The president has rejected this as just a conspiracy by the opposition to smear his party and how he responds to most controversies. As of today, he is still the nominee and is expected to win the governorship. But this week, activist Estefania Veloz resigned from the party in protest. His win could be a crushing to many women who believe that the government in the first time in history would significantly advance women's rights. The Mexican visa system gives visitors to this country a 6-month stay. But if you work, for example, in jobs like pollination, the government requires you to apply for a temporary permit that lasts 1 year. We bring you to Michoacan, where there are a lot of visitors who may be defying that rule. Let's go to Julian Valois with more.
Hey everyone, what's up? This is Julian. As you know, immigration between the United States and Mexico is always a hot button issue. So to find out more about this today, I've made a special journey to the mountains of Michoacan because I recently got a tip that there are some pretty impressive migrations going on over here. So we're gonna give it a look. So the thing is, technically, as a foreigner, if you're American or if you're Canadian, you're allowed a 6-month tourist visa in Mexico, right? Yet, I've gotten some information from the authorities that there are some temporary visitors here who are extending their 6-month stay.
That's right, monarch butterflies, in their thousands. I'm no cop, but I was curious to see how they had arranged a special deal with the government. Only thing is that they weren't ready to share their secrets with just anyone.
Excuse me, I'd just like to have a few words. Come back. Scaring him off. There. Sir? Found one. Gonna ask him about his status. Excuse me. Just a few quick words, sir. I tried to get something out of the butterflies, but they just weren't saying anything.
Even this guy kept his beak closed. His nectar fix perhaps too important. It seemed nature wasn't going to let me in. That is, until I was finally able to get onto their level. Dancing, of course. I had forgotten they didn't speak English, or any language for that matter. This little one let me in on everything, and you wouldn't believe what she said. Apart from the obvious things in life, like missing the Montreal Expos, she told me that in her world, she needed no papers. There were no visas. In fact, she told me she never heard of those. She just said, come to this sweet-ass party we got going on right now. It's nuts. And was it ever? There were Mexicans, Americans, and Canadians laughing together, sharing milkweed. I learned so much. So, I think this guy's from Winnipeg, maybe, or Hamilton, Ontario? In the end, he was from Detroit. These tri-citizens show me that maybe we humans have it wrong after all, that migration is a strength rather than something to fear, and that we have an amazing continent to share, and flying across it must be awesome. This has been Julian Vawa reporting from Michoacán.
Thanks, Julian, for your report. We have some sad news to report tonight. One of the greatest comedians in Mexican television history, Ricardo Gonzalez Gutierrez, or popularly known as Cepillín, passed away on Tuesday morning. He got his start in show business by starring in a commercial for his school where he was studying to be a dentist. He also painted his face like a clown during dental appointments so that children wouldn't be afraid. His name, Cepillín, translates to tiny toothbrush. His character became a national phenomenon, and Televisa offered him a daily show named The Cepillín Show. I got my tooth extracted from my mouth this week, and the dentist, unfortunately, was not wearing any clown makeup. Cepillín was 75 years old. The British royal family this week was embroiled in a bit of controversy as Meghan and Harry, the Duchess and Duke of Sussex, gave a very open and candid interview about the conditions inside the palace, including a revelation that Meghan thought of suicide and at one point claims of racism.
Hold up,
There's
stop
several
right now.
There's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
with Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh.
You know, it was really sad, but you gotta love Oprah, right? Everybody loves Oprah. Many said the interview was strikingly similar to an interview Harry's mother, Diana, gave to the BBC's Martin Bashir in 1995. Said everyone in Mexico, of course he married his mother. I tried to get a comment from Mexico's royal court, and I could only catch up with Lady Profeco.
¡Grábalo! ¡Grábalo! ¡Pero grábalo bien! ¡Con la que vivimos, ¡Patrulla! ¿Ya estuvo qué? ¿Patrulla qué? ¿Ya estuvo qué? ¿Ya estuvo qué? ¡Súbete tu puta patrulla, cabrón!
Yes, of course. Mexico's royalty, the ladies and lords. The Tokyo 2021 Olympic Committee decided this week to have 118-year-old Kane Tanaka, the world's oldest person, carry the torch on its journey through the country. I mean, should a 118-year-old person be out of the house and lighting a torch at the first COVID Olympics? Although I'm incredibly surprised about that. And what are old doing this stuff? Like, are they going to put a plastic bubble around her and then resulting in the plastic burning the torch and boom, voila, or akuso, which means oh shit in Japanese, an Olympic catastrophe is on our hands. Be careful over there, Japan. The idea came after Mexican ambassador Melba Pria suggested Chabelo for the honor. Yeah, you know, I have Mexicans on our writing staff, right? This is one of the greatest jokes, guys. In COVID news, the vaccine is so widely available, you can even get it on the metro.
Es la nueva vacuna COVID-19, mira, directamente de Rusia, va calada, va garantizada, mira. 10 pesos te vale, 10 pesos te cuesta, es la vacuna COVID-19.
But seriously, Mexico City continued this week in its program to vaccinate its elderly citizens over 60 years of age, focusing on the municipalities of Miguel Hidalgo. And are you ready? Azcapotzalco, Apotzcoscalco. Say it 5 times. If you can't say it, you can't go. That's why I think I've only been to Azcapotzalco once, to make a pilgrimage that every Chilango should make to the original El Bajío restaurant. You got to do it. Enchiladas, great Mexican food. And I don't want to knock Azcapotzalco. Did I say it right this time, guys? It seems like a beautiful community, and maybe I should go there, although Azcapotzalco means anthill. Something I don't think I want to go to a place. Hey, on Saturday, you want to go to an anthill? No, bad news. I hear Montezuma buried a treasure there. But if you read its Wikipedia page, it's not nice. Residents of this area are called Chintololos and is derived from the Nahuatl word Sintli Tolonlontic, which means excessively round ass. Yes, oh baby. You got a big butt, and I cannot lie. And by the way, are you from Azcapotzalco? Guys, this is in May. This is Wikipedia, all right? And also, you can visit the headquarters of Steren, you know, that electronics store that has everything, but it may only work for a year. And 65% of the municipality is occupied by about 500 industries which use toxic substances. I'm thinking someone from Gustavo Madero, like the neighboring alcaldía, wrote this page or wrote this script because they must be rivals, right? Like they must be fighting each other. But just remember about this place, big asses. But going back to COVID, it seems like things are easing in Mexico, and especially in Mexico City, where hospitalizations that were once at 89% have gone down to 47%. However, the disease is still prevalent. Just yesterday, 200 people died in Mexico City, and the vaccination process is taking a very long time. But for more on this, I had a chance to speak with Chief of Internal Medicine at the Center of Infectious Diseases in the ABC Medical Center to talk about more about all these crazy things that are happening. Let's take a look. Okay, Dr. Moreno, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Dr. Moreno, are you the guy that was at a nude beach during Semáforo Rojo and hanging out over there, or is that another infectious disease doctor?
I think that's another infectious disease.
You don't go to nude beaches during quarantine, right? You're a little bit safer.
No.
Dr. Moreno, let's get started. I have a lot of questions for you because I know that our viewers are really interested in a lot of things that you have to say, especially with your work at the ABC hospital. The most important one is that the vaccines are happening. There are a lot of people in Mexico that are feeling that it's not safe, or they don't know because they're saying that vaccines have taken 10 years or 15 years to develop and prove, and this vaccine has been fast-tracked. So we don't really know the efficacy of it. They just announced in Norway and Denmark to ban to stop the AstraZeneca vaccine because of blood clots. So are people's concerns real, and what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, the research that was done for the vaccines is not only a year from now, from a year ago. This is something that we were developing for other vaccines, and we used those platforms to develop the vaccine for the COVID. There was a lot of research in the HIV vaccine, the Ebola vaccine. So they were having the basis in which these vaccines were developed. They used the technology that they were using to develop those other vaccines. So these vaccines came up much faster than what we were expecting that. The vaccines are very safe. Now, these type of things that like the one that happens in Denmark and Norway, it's they see 2 or 3 cases and they try to protect the patients from having some side effects. It's like, for example, when the Pfizer vaccine was started in Norway, they reported 33 people that were dead after 4 months they received the vaccine. And that's because the protocols check patients for 4 months after they have the vaccine, and if they die, they do a look to the chart and see what happened. That doesn't mean that the vaccine was the reason for those people to die, but they have to do all the research to be sure that there was no relation between the vaccine and the cause of death. There was even a case in which a light went down and hit the patient, and the patient unfortunately died. And that patient was in that protocol in which they needed to know if there was no association between the vaccine and that accident. So they are very meticulous in trying to define if there's anything that we are concerned. Denmark and Norway right now stop using the vaccine, but they are not sure if there's any correlation between the AstraZeneca vaccine and the clothing. Remember, AstraZeneca is the second vaccine more used in the world after Pfizer. Pfizer is the first one, AstraZeneca is the second one. There have been more than 80 million doses of AstraZeneca. So if there was a clothing problem with AstraZeneca, we will know from a lot of countries. And this is not something that we have seen.
So also, we're talking in Mexico, we're getting a lot of the Chinese vaccines, the Sputnik vaccine, and I know that the Mexican government with the UNAM is developing a Mexican vaccine. How safe and effective are those vaccines, and could we trust them in getting them here?
Well, the thing is that you need to have the complete research from the vaccine. For the Sinovac vaccine and from the CanSino vaccine, that are the two Chinese. CanSino is a viral vector, and it's only one dose. And the Sinovac vaccine is a vaccine made from inactivated virus. Those vaccines haven't finished the phase 3. So I'm a little bit concerned of using those vaccines in Mexico without having the phase 3 study completely done. The Sputnik vaccine had that reported in the Lancet, and they were reviewed by partners. So the Lancet is one of the best medical journals. The only issue with the Sputnik vaccine, though, was that all the studies were done in Russians. So there was not a study done in general population, but it seems to be working very well. And it's using two types of adenovirus, 26 and 5. So it seems to be a safe vaccine. I know that it's probably something that is not going to be used in the States, but because they are using more the American and the research that they have done with the Moderna, Pfizer, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Right. Okay. So a lot of Americans or a lot of people who have the means to travel to the United States are watching tonight. If you were one of us, what would be your recommendation? Should we go? Even, of course, there has to be a 3 to 4 a week waiting if you do not get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, if you're getting the other vaccines. So you would have to go back and forth or stay in the US for that long period of time. Or is it something that we can just wait here in Mexico for our turn in order to get? What would you do if you were one of us?
The problem in Mexico is that you don't know what vaccine is going to be using in you. And there's not the thing that you can say, well, I want Pfizer or I would like AstraZeneca. You may get CanSino, or you may get the Sputnik, or you may get Sinovac. I think that if you're an American, I will try to use those to be an American to go to the States and have the vaccine received. Not because the other vaccines are not good. It's just because we don't have the research that has been done with Johnson & Johnson, with Moderna, and with Pfizer. Those are probably 3 of the 5 best vaccines that have been developed. Pfizer and Moderna, 95% efficacy from Pfizer, 94% of efficacy from Moderna. And the Johnson & Johnson vaccine showed that there was no deaths from people that had received the vaccine from COVID. So it protects you from having disease, it protects you from getting sick, it protects you from dying from COVID. So I think those 3 are very good vaccines, and I will try to get one of those.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk more about the situation now in Mexico, especially in Mexico City. It seems like most states are in yellow. Mexico City has gone to orange. They're starting to relax different things. Hospitalizations are at 47% as of today. It seems like the mood and there's traffic back in the city, that people are starting to go out. Is this the end of the tunnel, or do we have a long way to go for this to be over?
I think that the real challenge is going to be Holy Week, because if you look to the number of cases that we're having every day, it's very similar to what we had at July and August from last year. And in that time, we were on red. So it's there are very few cases compared to the peak that we had in January and December. But we're still having a lot of cases, new cases in Mexico. So if people start relaxing the measures, if people don't use masks, if people go to places where the crowd places, we can start having another peak. And that's something that concerns us. And the other thing is that people start thinking that with the vaccine, we are all safe. And Israel showed that after they started the vaccine, there were more infections because people relaxed the measures. So I will try to encourage people to get with the preventive measures a little bit harder for these couple of months, and then we're probably going to be able to relax. But we still have in a point where we can have an outbreak and we can have the curve going up again. And we don't want that. There has been a lot of deaths here in Mexico. The numbers, the official numbers are very low compared to what we think that it has happened in Mexico.
Right. So how are things in the hospital where you are? Have things been going down? And there's a lot of interesting things going on, especially when we're going into an election season. And as we learned from the U.S. story, COVID is going to be on a lot of people's mind, and wondering how the government is going to react to that moving into this election season and what they're going to be doing with policy. And I know you've been really vocal on social media about the government's response. Tell us all about this and what should we be expecting in the next couple of months?
Well, the thing is that we really don't have many people vaccinated so far. We started vaccinating people in December 24th, and we are a little bit over 3 million doses in a population where we have 30 million people. Compared with the States that you're getting almost to 100 million doses in a population of 300 million. So we are very slow in vaccinating people. And so I'm a little bit concerned if this continues to be that way, we may need a lot of time to get everybody vaccinated. And the problem with slowing vaccination is that we can start having new outbreaks. And we have seen what's happened with the variants, with the different types of the COVID variants that have spread from England, Brazil, and from South Africa. So I think this is something that needs to be approached as a world problem, because if you have countries where you are not controlling the disease, you may start having variants, and one of those variants could make all the vaccines do not work, and we're going to be starting like we were in March of last year. Absolutely. If the U.S. gets into herd immunity, as you say, like everybody can get a vaccine by the end of May. It's been widely available. I know I have a lot of friends of my age that are actually getting it now. How will that affect Mexico? Should I be making some plans for the summer, for the fall? In your perspective, when are we going to be able to get out of this? Well, I hope the government understands that there need to be a real job from everybody, from all the sections of the country. We need the private to be involved. We need the industry to be involved. We need all the programs that we had from all the vaccines programs to be employed to try to vaccinate it as much as 500,000 people a day. We are getting to 200,000 people a day in the last couple of days, but that's not something that is going to help get us from the COVID in this year. So we need to increase the number of doses that are applied, and for that you're going to need the help from other sectors of the country. And this government has been very close. They try to manage everything by them. This is something that they can't afford to be doing by themselves, because there's no possibility that they can make all the vaccines that need to be done in the time that it needs to be done to control this problem. I understand. But I just want to say again, Dr. Moreno, you have done so much great work. I know a lot of friends of mine have relied on you and your staff. And I always say in my year, like, oh, I'm complaining that I'm indoors, but I just can't imagine the year that you've had and all the work that you've done to save lives this year. And let's hope that the government knows that an election is coming and that they could be riding on the COVID response and they make some changes and make things happen faster in the next 3 months. But thank you so much for joining us on the show, Dr. Moreno, and all of our other support is with you in these coming months, and hopefully we won't have another peak again. Yes, thank you, Dan, and good night to everybody, and try to be careful. We're still in this time of the pandemic where we can't relax. We need to be very careful going out with careful measures, use the mask, avoid crowding places, and be washing your hands every time. And if we get these 2 or 3 months over, we may be starting to see the light real coming on.
Let's hope so. All right, Dr. Moreno, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dan. Take care.
All right, that was Dr. Moreno joining us earlier today with some really important information about the virus. Just hoping that we're going to get out of this soon and start saving lives and not seeing all these deaths. But let's switch gears a little bit, because if we're going to be thinking about COVID and getting sad, let's think about something fun like St. Patrick's Day. Next week marks St. Patrick's Day on the 17th, on Wednesday. And you know, your last fun, kind of worried, but not so much party because like COVID was creeping up party last year. Well, this year, we know that you can't do all those crazy parties, and Pinche Gringo Barbecue has a different take on it. So we go live, welcoming back for the first time in 3 months after having her babies cooking, and she's here now, Laylah Garciamora. She's back from leave. We're so glad to see you. You look awesome in that green, and I'm happy, Laylah, about this segment because I get to eat and I'm hungry. So this is our Guinness box. While I unbox this, why don't you describe it so you can see it?
Perfect, Dan. Thank you. I'm so glad to be back in the show. Well, as Dan mentioned, we are celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and we are working with Guinness in an amazing offer for these next weeks. So I sent you delicious Guinness beer and a corned beef sandwich. And this is only one part of the things that we are done. Don't throw it away. Please, don't waste it.
It's getting everywhere. Keep going, Clyde. Keep going. Keep going.
Well, this is just a part of the offer that we're going to have for this month. We are going to celebrate St. Patrick's for the full month. We have a corned beef offer and a corned beef sandwich for the full month. And we have a pre-sale of an amazing, amazing pair of dishes that we paired with Guinness beer, that are the Guinness barbecue ribs and the Guinness burnt ends that we're calling brisket tips. And you're going to see how we make them in a video in a couple minutes. So let me know then, how's the sandwich?
Corned beef good. Salted potatoes good. There's some cabbage here.
Yes.
Cabbage. And yeah, it's delicious. How do I order this stuff, Laylah?
Well,
it's in my mouthful. You hate that, I know.
You can go to our webpage, pgbbq.mx, and there you're going to find the offer. We're doing pre-sale, and these dishes that we pair with Guinness are limited offers. So I suggest that you go online and you buy them right now. And the dishes will be available from the 17th to the 21st. And we are also having our WhatsApp number available for these orders. And of course, you can go to our locations. We have open spaces for you if you want to go and have your lunch there. And if not, you can stay home and day drink Guinness and eat corned beef and barbecue ribs.
I'll wash that down. All right. I shouldn't talk with my mouth full, right? I know you hate that, Laylah. Thank you, Laylah Garciamora, Commercial Director, Pinche Gringo, and our sponsor. Let's roll one little clip, and then we'll be back for the ending of the show. Go ahead.
Los brisket tips o burn ends son el secreto mejor guardado de los pitmasters. Pequeñas porciones de brisket con el balance exacto entre grasa y carne magra, cortados y sazonados con una receta única y glaseados con una preparación especial de cerveza Guinness. Algo así como un premio para los conocedores del barbecue.
All right. Thanks for our sponsors, Pinche Gringo Barbecue. And that does it for this edition of the Gringo Show. Don't forget to pre-order your St. Patrick's Day. It's an amazing sandwich and amazing food. You're going to love it. And if you can come to the restaurant next week, we're going to have some things there, thankfully, get you out of the house and everything. So as always, follow us on our Facebook page or on YouTube. From all of us at the Gringo Show, we will be back next Thursday night for a great show. But until then, have a fantastic week. Thanks for joining us.
Pinche Gringo, Mexico. Mexico is laughing thanks to you. We like to watch you dance salsa and listen to your bad Spanish too. We like to watch you almost die from spicy food.